Hey, what's happening? All right, so today I'm gonna make black bean soup. And this is something actually I've never made in the Instant Pot before, so this is gonna be an experiment for me as well, but I'm pretty sure it'll be hard to mess this one up. And I thought about it because, yeah, you could probably do this one if you're traveling as well, if you have an Instant Pot and some beans on hand, a few spices, and some vegetables. So I'll first explain what I do with the beans. I soak them overnight. You want to soak them for maybe 8 hours. I mean, if you have an Instant Pot, you're able to technically just cook dry beans from scratch in a pressure cooker such as this. But I think the texture always comes out better if you still soak them. I mean, you can still cook dry beans really fast, but yeah, when you soak them overnight, I think they cook a lot quicker, and the texture becomes a little bit nicer. That being said, I soak maybe it's usually a cup to 2 cups of beans. This is probably a cup and a half. I don't know if you can see there. And I soaked them overnight. I drained them, and what I'll do is then add whatever vegetables I have on hand. In this case, I've got an onion. I've got a couple of Roma tomatoes. Let's see, a couple of carrots, some celery, bell pepper, summer squash. It's a tiny one. And I've got, let's see, a couple of potatoes as well. So I'll chop those up. So that will be the vegetables that I add. If I had raw garlic, I would add that maybe too. And you don't need to use all the vegetables that I have. If you don't have something, then, kind of make do with what you got. I do think like the onions and the garlic, things like that are kind of important. And the bell pepper, that's another good one too, because that really helps with it mixes well with black beans. Actually, if I had raw corn, that would be great, or even frozen corn to add at the end of it. That would be a nice addition, but I don't have any, so I won't be doing that. Anyway, all right, when I was at the store, I got this. This is a secret ingredient, smoked paprika, and it is awesome. This is real crucial to making awesome black bean soup. Cumin powder. So I use quite a bit of this. I probably put cumin powder in most of my recipes. So there's that. Chili powder. So I'm going to use some of that as well. A little bit of cayenne pepper. And let's see. We've got, this is both garlic powder right here. So I've got garlic powder as opposed to raw garlic. Yeah, I mean, with certain things like garlic powder, onion powder, those are good for when you're traveling as well too, because then you don't have to worry about the garlic or the onions going bad, although those are the types of vegetables that can keep for a while. Same with like potatoes. Carrots seem to be able to travel pretty well. Leafy vegetables, on the other hand, you're going to want to try to eat those right away because they're not going to last too long, especially in the summertime. Okay, so additional ingredients. Because I don't add a lot of just plain salt, I use a little bit of soy sauce. I'm going to use a little bit of hot sauce. I do have some, this is like really generic salsa, but yeah, I'm going to add a little bit of that. I think that will be a nice little addition. Oh, whoops, forgot this black pepper. And I have kelp. And I only add just a tiny bit of kelp to a lot of my savory dishes. Maybe just, I mean, it says like 1 teaspoon has that 970% of your daily supply of iodine, so you don't really want to go too crazy with this stuff. It's not going to do anything to like enhance or take away from the flavor if you just add a sprinkle of it. I mainly do it for the high mineral content, just to ensure that I'm getting a fair amount of minerals, in particular iodine. So I recommend incorporating some sea vegetables into your diet periodically to ensure that you're getting enough iodine for your thyroid. It's good for your thyroid. And then last but not least, we're going to have some water. So what I'll do is I will chop up these vegetables, and then I will get back to you for phase 2. All right, so what I did is I chopped up all those vegetables right here, and we're just gonna add them to the beans. So just toss them right in. And now I will add all the spices and whatnot. So we'll just add a sprinkle of the kelp powder, just a tiny bit of that. Next we'll do black pepper. I'm just kind of doing them as I see them. Add a little bit of that in there. And garlic powder. It's maybe about, I'd say a couple teaspoons of garlic powder. I don't mind that, and I'm gonna actually not be around anyone, so, you know, add all the garlic you want. A little bit of cayenne. Should be good. All right, the smoked paprika. We're gonna go liberal on that because it's really good. So maybe about a tablespoon there. Probably about a tablespoon of this chili powder. And let's see, cumin, same deal, like a fair amount of that. And what else? Do a splash of the soy sauce, get a little salt in there, and a little hot sauce. This is a good one too, yeah. Adding salsa to something like black bean soup's really good. So we'll add maybe 1/8 of a cup of that. All right, and then we just need to add some water. So you're gonna want at least probably 2.5 to 3 times the amount of water to beans. So I'll go ahead and pour that in here. Let's use all of that. So this was a complete picture of this, and I'll show you real quick. All right, so that's what it looks like. We'll go ahead and put the lid on. Sorry for the Blair Witch style camera operating action going on here. So, all right, so there's actually a button for bean chili, so we'll do that. And we're gonna go for, let's do 30 minutes on that. Make sure the pressure valve is closed, and I'll be right back in a moment. All right, so we're done here on the Instant Pot. So now the next move is, here, I'll turn that off, is you got to release the pressure valve. But when you're doing that, kind of back away. Don't put your hand over it or your face over it, or you're gonna get burned. And no one wants to get burned. So here we go. All right, I'll be back in a moment. This takes usually about a minute or so for it to exhale. My Instant Pot is exhaling. All right, so the moment of truth. Actually, not quite the moment of truth. We're going to first just lift the lid here. Ooh, the aroma is something else. One thing I also mentioned, if you have a bay leaf would be a good addition to this soup. So I don't have a soup spoon, so this is pretty lame, actually just using this little spoon that I have right now. And here, I'll kind of show you real quick. So it looks like this right now. Everything's cooked. The main thing is, are those beans done? And they look like they are because they're all split. Sorry for the really bad cell phone video work going on right here. But anyway, all right, let's put you back. Maybe down a little, I don't know. It's hard to say. Okay. All right, so we're gonna incorporate another appliance here. I'm gonna bust out the Vitamix, okay? So we are going to make this sort of like a creamy black bean soup. I mean, you could technically just go ahead and eat this the way it is right now, but I'm not gonna roll that way. So I like it a little bit creamier, and one way to help do that, I mean, there's potatoes in there, but add some rolled oats. Now this is gonna really help the situation. So, all right, this could take a moment, so maybe I'll chat with you while I do this. All right, so get some of the liquid, get some of the vegetables in there. I know this is like frustrating. Like any of those pro chefs out there are probably watching this, if they are watching this, and like cringing. And I understand this is pretty embarrassing the way I'm doing this, but you know, again, my whole angle with all the cooking that I do is I want this to be easy. You're packing light, you're traveling. You don't have all the resources that you would if you're just, you know, sitting, chilling at your home. But you can eat this if you're just sitting and chilling at your home. And we're all kind of, again, in social isolation because of this COVID-19 scenario that's happening. Wow, this is really slow. Okay. All right. So we'll do a little bit at a time. I might get a better device to just speed things up. Hang on. All right. Not exactly my first choice of things to use, but I don't have a soup spoon, so we're just doing this. So, all right, we're getting some of that liquid in there. All right, that's good enough. And what I'm going to do to help thicken it up is we're going to put a little bit of the rolled oats in there. Maybe a couple tablespoons. And the Vitamix right here has a hot soup setting on there, and so that is key because you're going to burn your face. Sorry, I'm moving out of frame. You're going to burn your face off, and we don't want that, right? You don't want to burn your face off. So anyway, this goes really slow, so make sure you go to the lowest setting possible when you do this. Don't completely cover the Vitamix or the blender that you're using when you do this thing. And actually, if you have one of those blenders that can go into hot soup pots, then that's a great move too. So anyway, with this, I allow some air to escape because steam's gonna shoot up from the bottom when you turn this on. Okay, so hopefully I won't burn my face. So we'll just turn this on for a second, give it a light blend. I mean, luckily with the Vitamix, yeah, I mean, it kind of knows what it's doing there. So, but again, try to leave a little bit of air gap in there so that you don't have this shoot out at you. And we're going to add that in there. Now, if we want it to be even thicker, you could, yeah, that's really nice. So when that cools down, I'll show you in a moment. I'm going to actually taste it real quick. All right, it's pretty good. It's always hard to tell when it's super hot like this, so you need it to settle down a little bit. But I might want to thicken it up a little bit more, actually. But it's pretty good right there. I might have added too much liquid when cooking. Oh wow, that would have been bad. I almost poured it into the oats. Maybe I should have had the coffee today. I don't know. Actually, I lied. I did have coffee. I'm trying to quit. I did quit for most of this year, and only recently I had a moment of weakness, and I went out and bought some coffee the other day. But I'm trying to keep it to just once or twice a week, so you know, don't judge, okay? Don't judge me. I'm doing the best I can. All right, so we're gonna try to get some of the beans in there. Yeah, I'm just chit-chatting with you. I'm lonely. Social isolation, so you know, we gotta have some communication somehow, right? We're all lonely people in this world. But I've got plenty of training doing the whole being in goth bands and shit like that. So, all right, a little more in the oats, a little more oats. Okay, and we're gonna blend that up. this should do the trick. So yeah, oats, potatoes, things like that are kind of whole food ways you can thicken up a soup if you don't want to use like flour, if you want to try to have sort of the whole foods style diet. And one more move, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to turn the Instant Pot back on for a moment, because with having the oats in there, it's good to bring up the temperature a touch to a simmer maybe. That way everything kind of thickens a lot on its own. So I'll come back in a moment. The way I'll do that is I'm just gonna hit this steam button right here. And what I'm gonna do is, like, as soon as I see a little bit of steam coming up here, that's plenty. That will thicken things up, and then I'll show you the results. All right, so we're done. Everything's kind of simmering right now. The soup looks great. I'm going to show you in a moment. And while we were doing all this, I decided to bust out yet another appliance and make a little bit of rice. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pour some of the soup over the rice, and that's just going to be my move for the whole day. I think that's all I'm going to eat is black bean soup, rice, and oh yeah, my friend Laura from high school. Shout out to Laura. She moved to LA recently. Well, recently, meaning the last couple of years. And I went to visit her, and she has a house. And on her property, she has an avocado tree. Now, that's like some California gold right there if you have an avocado tree. So anyway, it's apparently avocado season, and she's got an abundance of these things. So looks like I'm going to be eating a lot more of these bad boys now in the future. So this is a great addition. Chop up maybe a quarter of an avocado, half an avocado, and throw that on the top of everything, and that can be a game changer, as they might say. Some other options, maybe cornbread if you want to have that with it, or you could do tortilla chips or something like that with this soup, or just, you know, toast, something like that would be good. Anything else? Any other suggestions? Maybe you could do a little chopped cilantro as a garnish on top. That would be fancy and nice. I may or may not, I probably wouldn't make this on tour too often, maybe if there was like a day off or something like that. But everything turned out really well. Here, I'm going to show you. So what you do at this point, see? So the soup turned out really, it looks really nice. I wish you could smell it, because yeah, that smoked paprika, the chili powder and everything, it smells amazing. So it thickened up nice, and you know, I still like some of the chunks in there too, so that's kind of cool when you run across that. If you don't want it as thin though, I mean, I think it's a really good consistency, but if you wanted it thicker, I'd say if you're using an Instant Pot, just use less water, because actually that's one thing I didn't take into consideration. If you were cooking this in a normal pot, you actually need a little bit more water, because a lot of the steam is escaping the whole time. In a pressure cooker, it all gets released sort of at one point, and it doesn't lose nearly as much water in the form of steam when you're cooking it. So just a little side note that the proportions are going to vary depending on what sort of equipment you're using. Anyway, I hope you dig it. Yet another, in my opinion, kind of an easy recipe. It's very flexible. Yeah, you can vary a lot of the ingredients to your own liking. So if you really enjoy onions and garlic or something, you can add even more than what I did, and it's going to probably taste great. So whatever you're into. All right, cool. And I hope you dig it. And oh yeah, so I'm putting all these on YouTube as well. So yeah, go ahead if you want to follow me there, subscribe. I'm going to start eventually, when I go on tour, I'm going to start adding like live concert footage from like the drummer's perspective, me being the drummer. So anyway, so I'm going to do that. I think that's going to be a plan that I do. I will actually do a little bit more cooking on the road. I just hesitated from doing it for such a long time, usually because I'm really busy, and I always needed somebody else to kind of help me out with it. Yeah, anyway, but now that I am more comfortable doing this on my own. I think I'm going to post some more stuff from the road. So if and whenever I get back out there, all right, we're going to be more optimistic. I will be getting back out there. I just don't know when. You're going to see a lot more footage of what I do. I want to make this easy. I want more people to consider this lifestyle, consider animals in factory farms, and consider their health. I find this to be a really healthy way of eating. So I hope you dig it, and talk to you soon.